Welcome everyone. Today is the 13th of February. It's Monday and it's another weekly market analysis. So welcome everyone. My name is Pedro. I'm the senior market analyst at Alphachain. And what usually we do here is to pay attention to what happened last week, any big catalysts that affected the market, and what's going to happen during this week as well, right? So what you should be paying attention to in the bigger picture as well on the different assets and markets that we analyze on a daily basis. So last week it was a little bit calm, let's just say, or indecisive in terms of the direction where the market wanted to go after we had such a strong week the week before, right, the first week of February, when you had all those central bankers from the FOMC, BOE, and the ECB concluding then on Friday with the NFP. So we saw potentially what it may be a reversal in the market, with the dollar reversing and turning bullish last week, and the gold going down, the indices starting to move down a little bit, and everything else that follows with it. Last week it was a little bit of non-event. If you take a look at the calendar news, basically it was mostly composed with the yellow and orange news, aside from small red news, but not based in the US. For example, had the interest rate decision, another 25 basis points in Australia. Now it's at 3.35, and it was revised to the upside. The inflation, the employment as well for the next years, by the end of the year and with the end of 2024. We had an interesting speech by Fed Chair Powell last Tuesday, where he saw a little bit of volatility in the market, but it was mostly reinforcing what he had said the day or the week before during the FOMC, right? Again, yes, a little bit of seeing inflation going down. However, the continuation to stay on this path, especially after such a strong NFP data that it came out with 500,000 new jobs on the 3rd of February. So he wants to start seeing some weakness in the economy before changing his course. At this point, he's going to most likely to continue with another 25 basis points in the next meeting in March, and most likely even after that. So next meeting is going to make the interest rate at 5%, which is basically what the market has predicted or forecasted as the peak. However, that's not exactly what the Fed has been saying. So the Fed is looking for maybe higher than 5%. And then the second question is, for how long is going to stay at this peak, at this high rate? And that's the other divergence that you have with the market, right? Another situation that occurred throughout last week, it was a lot of Fed members. They made some comments at their own pace within last week, and basically everyone was in alignment with what Fed Chair Powell said. Some a little bit more conservative, but basically are in alignment with seeing the interest rate going higher than 5%, and then maybe staying still at least throughout this year, 2023, without any changes or any cuts, and maybe in 2024, hopefully to be able to do that. Also, hopefully, they're saying that they'll be able to bring the inflation to their target of 2% or close to 2% somewhere next year in 2024. So yeah, that's basically what we had in terms of big news. Unemployment claims still below 200K, which continues to be positive. In the UK, we had GDP coming out negative, at minus 0.5. Let's see if it's going to manage to kind of skip the recession or not in the UK, right? Something to pay attention to. And there's going to be more data coming out from unemployment in the UK this year. Strong unemployment in Canada as well last week, which was positive, kind of in alignment with the US. Consumer sentiment as well, really strong. So it's good that good data coming out from the US. at this point. That's basically the main points from last week. Then if you go a little bit to the commodities, oil had a really strong week, mostly as well because Russia is cutting production. So, and the OPEC plus meeting, most likely they're not going to kind of try to find an alternative for this production cut that Russia is doing. So expecting maybe oil to be at high prices, and it was again close to 80. Right, it's been in that range that we've been looking at. This week, our eyes are going to be on tomorrow's CPI data in the US, something that everyone's going to be paying attention to. Of course, it has been the most important data that from last year. This year, however, it's kind of maybe slightly changing because it's maybe losing a little bit less, losing its importance, even though it's still super important. But maybe NFP is becoming now the most important data on a monthly basis. But CPI is still a hot topic and something that we are going to keep an eye on, right? So what you're looking for, a little bit maybe revised to the upside, is expected to be at 0.5% this month, comparing with minus 0.1% from the month before. Expecting year to year to be to reduce from 6.5% to 6.2, where in the core CPI to go from 5.7 to 5.5, right? So the core CPI to go to grow 0.4% this month, and this is something that, of course, it's super important for the Fed to make decisions. It's going to be based as well. If they continue to see the inflation to move to the downside. So our eyes are going to be in here. Let's see how the market's going to react to it. This morning already had CPI in was it in China? It was in Sweden. China. I'll forget about it. So yes, what else do we have? We have as well unemployment in the UK tomorrow, and then CPI as well in the UK on Wednesday. So again, something to pay attention to. Are we going to see the CPI starting to continue to decrease inflation in the UK? So it has peaked in November, reduced a little bit in December, a little bit more in January. Is still at two figures. Let's see if we're going to be able to move lower and just to be at one figure mark and go lower than the 10% in the UK. Then we're going to have retail sales, expecting as well a strong number comparing with December's one. So let's see as well how it's going to be in there. Aside from that, there's going to be some PPI numbers and employment in Australia, and nothing else in particular, right? The most important is going to be definitely the CPI data to keep an eye on in there. So if you do pay attention to the markets and how the market has been reacting last week, again, this was this. So we are looking at the dollar index. Dollar index is something that we like to pay attention to because it gives you an overview of what to expect from the major FX pairs, especially the ones related to the dollar. So yes, we finally had that turn during the FOMC and ECB press conference around that week, being again gaining momentum during the last NFP data on the 3rd of February. And after that, this is something a little bit normal to expect, right? So after such a strong turn, price finally reacted from that level on the left side. We took these lows, and yes, after a while, we are expecting a little bit of a range, maybe before the dollar goes and continues to move higher, kind of reinforcing this turn that occurred 10 days ago. So yes, target, looking at the dollar at this point, you're looking to go a little bit higher to towards to this level in here that was created during the previous NFP in January, beginning of the year. So that's where kind of we are looking for the dollar to go to, but expect some ranging market in here, maybe before price finally breaks through and maybe continues to go higher. Last week we did mention that the 2-3 levels that maybe price could react from. One was this one, another one it would be the base of this level. All these lows in here most likely have been already picked up by this low, and then of course the final extreme close to those lows. For now, price has been reacting from here, and it was a quite interesting move. So they created first all these lows in here during the week until finally they made this reverse happening in here last Thursday, if I'm not mistaken, and then Friday it just continued to move to the upside, which is kind of normal, right? After we do that turn, price kind of can create a little bit of manipulation here, goes down, and we can resume. So let's see if this is enough for price now kind of to resume the move upwards, or we're going to have a little bit more of a range, slightly maybe moving upwards. So let's see what's going to happen in here on the dollar index. Again, tomorrow most likely there's going to be some volatility going on in here with the CPI when the CPI data comes out. Yeah, interesting to see now. Yes, if you do break above this high, kind of reinforcing to move upwards, or you're going to go a little bit lower. Nevertheless, I'm actually expecting personally for price to go retest that level before we do break new lows. But let's see, price can indeed go a little bit forward before maybe moving upwards. So this is for the dollar index. It's something that we pay attention to because also of all the correlation that it has with the other markets, even with the indices, as we know, right? So the indices it had a negative week. Moving slightly to the downside. After that, move upwards during the last FOMC meeting, right? Strong move to the upside, and now is reacting from this level, right? So S&P reacted from that good level in there. There's a chance still to get that it can go higher. We had this strong trend line finally broke through. Nevertheless, it's still reacting from the demand zone in here. So let's see if it's going to retest the trend line and move to the downside, or it's going to still go slightly higher before moving to the downside. We do have all these levels of structure in here. So let's see what the S&P is going to do. Is it slightly turning and moving down after such a strong month of January that we had, right? So this was the last 6th of January, the beginning of the month with the last NFP, and price has been just on the rally. So yes, let's see if we do have some kind of retracement to the downside or continuation after the negative week that we had last week. So yes, we did broke this trend line. There's maybe a potential chance that price can slightly move lower, or it can even still fake out this size, going a little bit higher before maybe turning. And as I mentioned a few times, looking at the bigger picture, there's even the chance to fake out this size from August into that supply that's still fresh on the left side. Looking at the Nasdaq, something similar happening, just to different levels that we have in here. Right, there was actually a really good opportunity to sell in there. If I'm not mistaken, it was maybe Thursday that happened. It was a key level in here with this high, as a zone that was still fresh on the S&P, but it was not on the Nasdaq. Looking at the bigger picture as well, like looking at this rally to the upside since the beginning of the year, we managed to break this bullish trend line, so maybe indicating that price may be interested or close to a potential reversal. We did still broke this high, so I'm still looking for a potential move higher before any turn. So S&P is reacting from this high already, and there's still a chance, as I mentioned, for price to even go a little bit higher in there. But let's see, key level now on the Nasdaq in terms of looking for longs, most likely the retest of this level in here, of this demand zone in alignment with this previous level of structure. So there's a chance for price to maybe from here continue to go continuing to go higher. So let's see when price reacts from this level, how it's going to react from. Nevertheless, we did broke this trend line, so maybe there's opportunity to continue for that extra leg down until here. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you do go a little bit forward, at least to take these lows to react somewhere from this level before continuing to go higher if price does indeed wants to do that. So that's for the Nasdaq as well. So Nasdaq and S&P quite similar, opposite to the DAX, right? Not DAX, to the Dow Jones, right? So Dow has been in the strong range compared with the other ones. In the bigger picture, actually, it has been reading it because Dow, even last year, already broke the highs from August, while S&P and Nasdaq are not reacting from it, just to have in perspective in terms of the move itself. Basically, S&P is reacting from this level that was created at the end of August, and Nasdaq just broke this high that was created around 13 of September, right? So this is where Nasdaq is, this is where S&P is, and Dow already broke this high. It's already even moving down, and so on and so forth, right? So even if you do have this higher time frame perspective in terms of correlation, Dow Jones is actually leading compared with the other ones. However, in the short term, it looks like it's lagging because the other two are moving way stronger than these ones, which is literally in this range in here. I'm still looking for price maybe to eventually get in here to these lows before maybe wants to continue to go higher. Yes, again, we are creating this really strong level of resistance at a line at this level, 34 something, that 34k something in there on the Dow. Now it actually left another supply in here. Something interesting is that we finally broke this low, right? So we finally broke that level, which can lead a little bit more potential room to the downside. So let's see now how price is going to react from this supply if it gets there. Nevertheless, we still respected this low. So this can be the first ending goof down. If you do break below this low, maybe more room to the downside, and then eventually price can reach these levels. In here, it looks like maybe the Dow is waiting a little bit for the Nasdaq and the S&P to be in alignment for finally maybe the indices to turn and move lower. That looks like what it's happening in here. It's a really strong range in here compared with the other ones. And the DAX, let's just take a look a little bit of the DAX. There's a potential really good opportunity in here. So DAX has been moving to the upside, following a little bit the optimism that has been seen in the Euro zone. Yes, however, just a little bit technical in this aspect in terms of the analysis. We may be close to a good potential setup. So this is the highs, all-time highs before the move to downside on the DAX. Yes, it's a double top. There's a high probability that eventually, if prices get close to there, we may have some kind of fake out of this double top and maybe then moving to the downside. But before that, I would really like to see price going above this high in here. At this point, it's reacting underneath that level. So reacting from somewhere at this level to have some kind of good retracement, even if it's just reacting all the way until here, or even feeling this place that is starting to be created. And it just broke this low in here as well. It kind of shows a little bit more room to the downside, but price could first go there and eventually take that and then fill this range. So there's maybe a good opportunity to look for a sell after we take this high, at least based on the technicals and looking at this price action here. I do like that level. Yeah, that's just some tip in there. Yeah, continuing now, also that to pay attention to is the Euro index. Similar to the dollar index, but now this one is more related to the euro, and then we are going to take a look as well at the yen, index. And there has been some news in the yen. Actually, I haven't talked about them, but I'll talk in a bit. So euro index, so it saw the move to the downside on the euro, mostly in euro pairs, and it finally reached this level in here that we've been looking for. It reached there 10 days ago, so during the ECB press conference. Again, it's another moment where the euro moves to the downside or creates kind of a high for the moment during the ECB press conference. That has been kind of a routine. This was the last one or the previous one, for example. And if you continue to check the previous ones, you'll see how well kind of it aligns. Anytime kind of there is an ECB, it has been a pattern of looking for our euro to move to the downside, and it filled one of the first ranges. I'm still looking actually to see price going a little bit lower, but for now it's reacting from this demand zone that it was still fresh in here. We did leave the supply now, so maybe can do something like this. Maybe there's a way to start drawing some kind of trend line in there. So let's see. Of course, price doesn't move just in a straight line. It moves up and down. So, but eventually I'm actually looking now from this highs for price to go all the way until here. So a little bit more room to downside on the euro, which kind of would take dollar as well to go a little bit higher. So let's see if that's going to happen. But yes, I do target this level in here now, this low, with potential to go even more on the euro index. Key levels to maybe to look for, maybe somewhere in here could still be interesting. If you do break above this level, then maybe the extremes as a last resource in there. So yeah, it's another one that that we have been mentioning and talk about. Good reaction from this important key level in there on the left side. And then the yen, right? So the yen, it has been super kind of ranging during these last few weeks, and there was some finally news regarding the next governor. So it was announced last Friday, the Kazu Ueda as the next governor of the Bank of Japan, replacing Kuroda, which is going to step down in April after 10 years being in charge of as governor of the Bank of Japan. That it was a little bit of a surprise to everyone. Kazu Ueda was an academic and a former member of the BOJ policy board. So, and I believe it's from what we have seen, our research, his views are a little bit more kind of neutral, comparing with first of all, maybe with Kuroda's itself, or even with the profitable Amamiya, which was a potential candidate as well. In theory, Amamiya actually refused or rejected the offer to become the governor of the Bank of Japan. So maybe we can expect some kind of shift from this dovish and approach that the Bank of Japan has been taking, right? So it has been a big battle. They've seen the inflation going higher in the most recent months. There is this battle that goes on with 10-year bonds at around 0.5%. So, and that's kind of when we are seeing all this range in here on the yen pairs. It has been, and most likely they will need to change something in their policy, monetary policy, which may happen just after April. So they may be waiting for finally to the current governor of Bank of Japan, Kuroda, to step down before they start changing their policy. So let's see when it's going to happen and what impact that we're going to have in the yen pairs and in Japan itself, right? So let's see. For now, strong move, a little bit of a spikes. Let's see if we finally manage to break away from this range that we have in here. So let's see if that happens on the yen pairs. There's been super ranging in these last few weeks. Finally moved a little bit away, reacting to all this news. So let's see what's next in here. Now we're going to go to the individual currency pairs that you usually look for. So the euro, similar to what happened with the yen and following the euro index. So move to the downside. We did turn again, ECB press conference, somewhere in there, we turn to the downside. Again, the target a little bit similar to the dollar index, being that zone of the 6th of January during this NFP in there. So this is basically the range that you are looking for. Initially, it was this one, full compressed in there, but now the next one most likely is going to be this one. Opposite to dollar index, the euro actually already managed to break this low from the 7th of February. So it managed to break that low last Friday. Dollar index hasn't really broken the high from the created on the 7th of February. Neither the pound, which is going to compare a little bit. However, pound has actually made a little bit more move to the downside comparing with the euro. Right, pound is already reacting somewhere from here, comparing with all the move, and the euro dollar is still kind of moving a little bit above that level, right? Not going down as strongly initially as the pound. So let's see if you're going to have some kind of reaction from here, if you're going to create again this kind of range instead of price just moving in a straight line like he did for 2 days in a row, Thursday and Friday. Let's see now if we're going to have a little bit of a range before moving to the downside. Again, CPI tomorrow, most likely we're going to see some volatility even on the euro dollar. Overall, bigger picture, yes, I'm expecting price to go slightly lower. However, I could see easily price still going a little bit higher, even maybe taking these highs before continuing then to the downside. Yep, eventually could even go all the way until there. So maybe a little bit more again of moves up and down on the euro until we eventually get to the downside. Pound, as I mentioned, it moved a little bit lower comparing with the euro. So euro is somewhere in here, pound is already somewhere in there, and pound still has a little bit of room to go until it breaks actually last week's low. Let's see if that's going to happen. Nice reaction from this level. We tested this level of structure and it moved to the downside. It's moving quite in compression now. Let's see if it's going to hold, if this level in here is going to hold pound until, and then it may have an extra move to the upside before maybe making a new low. So there's still maybe opportunities to see some reactions from within these lows without the need to break them straight away. In terms of if you're looking to look for sales, there's maybe some opportunities in there as well. So again, it's going to be there's going to be a few news related to the pound. We're going to have an employment rate coming out tomorrow, and then CPI, if I'm not mistaken, maybe Thursday. So expect some volatility as well on the pound. In the Aussie a little bit similar as well. So in the bigger picture, this for me is a clear move down. So I'm looking for the Aussie eventually to continue to move to the downside. Again, same target, a little bit that the beginning of the move from the 6th of April. Everything is a little bit in alignment. They kind of reversed exactly on the same day as well, 10 days ago. After that, after breaking the highs in here during the FOMC, and then the day after they finally turned. Nevertheless, I do like maybe this level in here for a potential sell. We did kind of fake out this high, so maybe that's enough for a bit. Let's see how price is going to react from somewhere in here. It's already a good reaction this morning, but can go maybe a little bit lower still, and then maybe continue to go higher, getting to that level, and then maybe turning. Let's see. There's even the chance that price could go a little bit higher above this level. If you do break above this level, then eventually I'm expecting price to go somewhere in here. But there's a chance that price can just respect this level and drop. So let's see. Bigger picture. This is definitely for me an engulf down. So I'm expecting the Aussie to continue to move to downsides. So basically what I'm saying in here is I'm expecting price to break this low before breaking this high. The deeper price goes, maybe the better opportunity it becomes in terms of risk reward. It's just then about to fine tuning the timing for your entry. So let's see if it's going to continue to move a little bit more to the downside this week. There's going to be as well unemployment, if I'm not mistaken, in Australia in terms of the data to come out. And the yen pairs, right? So something that we covered last week. It opened to the upside with a gap. We did break this high. So that for me was already kind of an engulf up, similar to the Aussie, a slightly break of a high. That for me actually was an engulf up. We just now actually slightly took this one in here. It's actually a nice zone to go to and then to continue. Yep, a few reactions from there. So eventually you could see the yen to continue to go higher since we already broke this one. There's maybe a little bit of a zone in there that can still react. Actually, price is now just reacting from it. Keeping an eye on this level, maybe as a trend continuation setup, still this level in here as well. Yeah, let's see. But this actually, there was still orders in there. So we could look for a little bit of a short, but eventually I would like to see, or I'm expecting actually price to might continue to go higher since this high already took that one. So let's see what's going to happen on the yen pairs. Finally moving after spending so many days, a couple of weeks within this, almost within this range without really evolving. Price is still respecting that zone on the left side. So let's see if we now actually broke this bearish trend line in here. So maybe we are actually ready to go upwards, right? So if you do follow this trend line, nicely broken, price kind of went down, and maybe this can show as a bullish momentum in there. Next key levels, maybe something in there, or of course, the retest of this zone in here. And this demand, yes, this demand is still fresh, just in case price still actually wants to go all the way down. There's still that opportunity in there. And you can see the other yen pairs a little bit still in the range. This is euro yen. Let's see how it's going to react from that level. Aussie yen as well, kind of still reacting somewhere in here within this range. And the pound yen as well, right? So pound yen is literally still somewhere in here for the last few months, for the last couple of weeks, 1 month and a half, 2 months. That is in here. So yeah, let's see maybe more opportunities within this ranging market before maybe continuing and breaking some directions. The CAD, dollar CAD, we had really strong unemployment last Friday, and it's another one within a big range, right? So the same way that they managed to have all this level of resistance, it looks like now it's having all this level of strong resistance as well in here at around these highs. Let's see if it's going to continue to move to the downside and eventually break all these lows and kind of continue in this direction that looks like CAD has been going to. Yeah, nice reaction from there, but maybe there's a chance for price to continue to move forward. It looks like anytime kind of goes a little bit to the respecting, anytime it goes up, it kind of respects and finds some kind of strong level of resistance in there. So the sellers look like they are in control on the CAD. I was actually looking for price to go a little bit higher in there. Price never really reached that level. Yeah, the NFP, the unemployment last Friday, strong move down. So it's another one, a little bit in the range. Let's see which direction is going to eventually break through. We're going to break these levels, these highs, and towards maybe somewhere in there, or are going to just continue, maybe break these lows, and then let's see until where we are going to on the CAD. Dollar franc Swiss. It's another one, bigger picture. Maybe you are do so for some kind of retracement to the upside. Maybe that can happen as well when the dollar now continues maybe to move higher. We did broke these highs in here, so that maybe that chance to go slightly higher. Let's see if it goes straight away from here, or if the retest still a little bit more. It goes one more time closer to the lows before moving. Like we have all this strong compression on the way down. As you can see, we just took this important low, which actually was created a double in there and a nice fake out from that move. So there is a chance for price to maybe continue to go to go higher. Let's see, is from where that's going to happen, right? But we did broke these highs now, so a little bit of indication that maybe price wants to go higher. Yep, maybe all the way until there could be an option. Bigger picture, I still like a little bit this level personally for a potential zone for price to react from. Eventually could go even lower, right? So bigger picture, I'm still looking for dollar franc Swiss to maybe continue to go lower and actually feel out this compression in here. However, shorter term firm, in the medium term, maybe I could see price first going higher before maybe continuing to feel all this until moving lower. So yeah, there is this dynamic going on the dollar franc Swiss. Gold is another one that we have been looking for. Similar to the euro, it managed to break the last week's low last Friday. So Friday had broken the previous week, the previous low that was created for that week, move upwards, and we finally move to the downside again. Similar to the other ones, we may have a little bit of a compression, of a little bit of retracements in here, instead of price just moving in a straight line like it did with the NFP and the day before. Now it's time to have a little bit of a conjecture in here, right? There's maybe still even orders if price does retest to decide there's maybe something in there, or even the chance for price to go even a little bit higher, maybe towards that level. As a final target for the gold, it's not as clear as the other ones, but maybe there's a chance for price to continue to go lower. Maybe how this is the compression. It's not as clear. With the first one, it was this one, so that one has been basically filled, target reached. After that, you already saw some reaction, but yeah, maybe there's a chance for price to continue to go a little bit lower. Where price is reacting now, it's actually a nice zone on the daily time frame, reacting from the base of this. So eventually could go a little bit lower, but for now, maybe it's a good level to find another retracement. Yes, maybe eventually price could go there, still go there, or even somewhere in there to look for a continuation to the downside, and eventually could even still go there because it just took this high, and there's still a little bit of space towards that level. That's maybe for the future. But let's see, this one in the daily time frame can be interesting. We do have this previous level of support, of resistance in there, all the way until here. So that can be also at around 1,800, can be a good level, the previous level of support resistance along the way. So this could also be interesting to look for in the bigger picture for price maybe to react from there. So there are a few levels in here. Yeah, on gold, maybe new low and then continue to go higher. So let's see what's going to happen. A little bit similar, for sure, is going to be in alignment with what the dollar is going to do in the next few days and weeks. And oil, as you mentioned, right, it had a really strong after a strong move to the downside the week before, and last week again another move upwards. Like it has been kind of first week of the year or something like that to move down, kind of throughout the next 2 weeks, kind of a move higher until the end of and then a little bit of a range until the end of the January. First week of February move down, second week of February kind of move upwards, and we are within this range in here on oil, right, in between this 71 mark, 71, 72, all the way to 80 or 82 dollars range. And there's even the chance that price could go even a little bit lower because this time it was actually not picked up by this low. So there's even the chance that price can actually go slightly lower. But let's see if we do manage even to break above this level. We're going to test it and then continue to move down. For how long are we going to be in here? That's going to be a good question mark. Right, there have been some news happening in here, situations with Russia, optimism in terms of maybe there's not going to be any recession as maybe everyone was expecting maybe last year. China reopening as well, so there's more demand coming in. So let's see which direction we are going to go to. Maybe the strong dollar as well can affect oil. So let's keeping an eye in here. For now, looking at trading opportunities, maybe within this range, there's maybe a little bit more ups and downs to be expected. Eventually, when you do create way too many highs in alignment, there's a chance of a fake out, of course. So just be aware of that. But yeah, more of the same in there. And now finalizing with the crypto, right? So there you go. BTC, it finally moved to the downside. So it's reacting from this level in here in the middle of August. It was kind of the high after this bullish rally in the summer that we had last year. Good level in there. I could see even price going slightly higher, but now good reaction after such a strong bullish January that the crypto market had. It found this high basically on the 1st of Feb, and now it's moving to the downside. There's a little bit of retracement, so now it's reacting from this key level in here, this previous level of resistance in alignment to this zone in here. So let's see how BTC is going to react from this level. Is it going to be enough and find some support and move to the upside, or are going to continue to move to the downside? There are a few levels in here that price can still react from. If it goes higher, I do like this level in here at the extreme. That price didn't really touch it, so eventually could be a good opportunity to look for a sell. But yeah, something in here could happen in there to look for longs. So yeah, keeping an eye in here, a little bit of a retracement to the downside. Maybe that was expected after such a strong January. Finding some balance now to maybe continue to move to the upside. And of course, this level in here, this high, is super important. Ethereum, of course, kind of doing a little bit more of the same as BTC. So we finally managed to break these lows. It's reacting from that good level in there. I mentioned that I would like to see one price going a little bit higher, but for now, it's a good zone. So let's see where it's going to find some kind of support or not. And a few good levels as well that we may have if price wants to retrace and maybe continue to move to the downside. Next key levels maybe somewhere in here. So that may be a little bit more room to go down on Ethereum. Now that we finally broke this and these lows. Yep, this level in here of the month can be interesting at around 1,430s, and this one 1,350 can be also a good zone to look for, maybe a continuation to the upside. In terms of price moving a little bit upwards, there's maybe this level in here that price can still be used some short opportunity. Yeah, let's see if we're not just going to create this kind of fake out in here and kind of price moving upwards after that, maybe towards that level in there. So if you do break above this level, maybe there's a chance to see some kind of longs until here, and then let's see if price does respect that level or it continues to move higher. But yeah, there's enough structure in here to be looking at. Yeah, let's see, because this one has already been taken. Yeah, keeping an eye on that. There's been some good opportunities in the crypto, which is great after some moments where you had such a strong range for a few weeks, and so finally now in this year has been quite volatile and provided some great opportunities in the crypto space, which is great. And that's it from our side. So thank you again for watching our weekly market analysis. Feel free to comment if you have any questions. Thank you so much, guys. I'll see you next week. Wishing everyone a great trading week. Thank you, guys. I'll see you next week.